Hello everyone. So this is chapter 11 of A Look in the Dark, and it's called Bandit Country, and this is the last part of that chapter. Danny and Carole are at the house called Crawley, where they bumped into the nephew of Michael O'Connor, who's suspicious about them but has told them he's going to take them to see hen harriers. They're wondering, where is Michael O'Connor just now? "Keep quiet now, or you'll scare the harriers." David signalled for them to crouch low behind the stone wall. Carole and Danny exchanged a smile because the loud request for silence was like turning the lights on to get darkness. "Hush now," David continued, "and very slowly ease your eyes above the wall." David demonstrated as he talked in that same contradictory volume. Carole and Danny smiled again and raised their heads. They didn't know it, but each of them thought the same. If we get shot now, well, at least we're in good humour. As they leaned on the sphagnum-topped stone, Davy pointed to a far corner of a small, much more scrubby field. This field was less grassy, and in places bog cotton had taken over. "Keep looking over there. Do you want a drink?" The half bottle of Bushmills appeared from his pocket. Carole nodded. She didn't want to offend. "Then I'll leave you the bottle if you don't mind sharing." He poured a fair portion of the contents down his throat, treating the golden brown fluid like a child's cordial. "Keep watching that corner and I'll be back soon." He handed the bottle to Carole. "Now save me some. You should see the harriers." With that, the seemingly immune to the effects of strong drink young man turned his back and trudged fairly purposefully back across the field, ignoring the young bullocks who eyed him, one or two roaring as he passed. Carole was very uneasy. Danny wondered where Michael was, and yet neither wanted to unnerve the other. Danny was surprised at how much of the Irish whiskey his wife swallowed. "I'm on holiday and you're driving, Danny boy." She passed him the bottle. "At least wet your lips," she whispered. "We don't want to offend our host." 15 minutes passed, and then Danny heard it. Kick, 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 kick. The grey-white shape with the black-tipped wings had something in its talons and dropped down into the grass at the far corner they'd been encouraged to watch. The male hen harrier was providing for his family. They watched for a few minutes with excitement, but it was like getting an ice cream in a boat. They might be enjoying it, but they were aware of their situation. "Dan," Carole was choosing her words thoughtfully, "I'm a bit concerned." "Tell me your concerns, love." "Well, we're away up here on the border. Davy doesn't know us from Adam and Eve, and we must look pretty suspicious. This is certainly a Republican area, and I'm worried about where he's actually gone." "I've been wondering just where Michael O'Connor is. Do you think our friend Davy has gone to fetch him from the house?" "I don't know, Dan. I'm a bit stupid bringing you up here. This isn't Exmoor. This is a war zone. Do you mind if we go back to the car?" "All right with me." Danny was unsettled again, and mostly because Carole was. "Are we in real danger, do you think?" Well, maybe." Danny felt the cooling breeze from the west on his face as he scanned the scene below. Miles of the same rolling hills, and then a valley with the Sperrin Mountains beyond. In the other direction were the craggy mountains of County Donegal, and suddenly he felt the panic of the complete isolation. Nobody knew where they were, and taking of life and burial of a body or two would be as easy as hiding a couple of sparrows in a manure heap. The stark beauty of Tyrone and Donegal seemed suddenly darkly threatening. "Okay, Carole, without panic, let's go back the way we came to the car." He was trying to get the tone of his voice right so that his wife didn't realise that he was scared. Inside, though, he felt like a lost cowboy in Indian country. Carole smiled, trying to be reassuring, but it was a very thin smile and was accompanied by a worried forehead. "Dan, you know how much I love you, don't you?" "Of course I do." The tone of his voice made her heart beat faster, and they both realised that there was a danger here comparable to Stanhurst. They walked past the farmhouse, which seemed to be deserted. Carole placed the remains of the Bushmills whiskey in a wheelbarrow near the back door of Davy's home. She felt that simple gesture might make all seem normal, but she didn't know how. Trying not to rush, but nonetheless more quickly than they came, the Greens walked back down the track to Tullymone Road, and then, feeling only slightly more secure, they moved in the direction of the car. When the car was in sight, Danny felt relaxed enough to point out the noisy Milestone chat, again making something of a fuss from the top of a windbush. He put the key into the car door, and suddenly a voice froze time so deeply that the moment would never be erased from his brain. Just hold on right there and turn around slowly. Two men came over the ditch, which was stones, earth and years of grass and sphagnum. They wore balaclava masks, which gave them a very frightening alien appearance, and the one who had issued the command pointed a firearm at Danny Green's head. Danny was terrified, but Carol's brave run in his direction was cut short by the other armed paramilitary turning his gun in a direction and ordering her to stop. Almost instantly a car screeched to a halt beside them, and the taller man who had spoken first ordered them to give them the keys to their car, get in the other vehicle, or else. Don't even think about not doing as I tell you. I've killed before, and I wouldn't hesitate to blow your brains out. Carole registered a strong accent from the south of Ireland. Giving the men a look of schoolgirl-like defiance, she got into the other car slowly. And you, hurry up! Danny didn't argue, and he gave a look of compliance rather than defiance. It was all happening so fast that he had not really totally thought what was happening. However, he no doubt that both he and the love of his life had better cooperate with the gunmen if they wanted to survive. Hoods were put over their heads, and the taller man, who seemed to be a leader, sat beside Danny, resting the barrel of his gun into Danny's chest. The second man was in the front seat, and the third, the driver, smoothly took off. For 15 minutes nobody spoke, and then the car came to a sudden halt. Car doors were opened and they were ordered out, still blinded by the hoods. Carole stumbled over something she couldn't see, and one of the men roughly helped her to her feet. "Carole, are you okay?" The Englishman's voice was sharp as a rifle shot in this environment. "I'm just fine, Danny boy. What could possibly be wrong?" "Get them in the house." The leader's voice was calm. He was certainly in control, but even he smiled at the girl's brave, sarcastic reply to the Brit. Inside, the hoods were taken off, and they could see that they were in an old house with curtains drawn and ancient furniture and a stone floor. The three masked men were staring at them. "Lock her in the bedroom. Tie her up. I want to interrogate him first. I want Pat," he called to the third man. "Make us all some tea. Best give our guests some too." "There, Danny boy. True Irish hospitality," Carole shouted as she was pushed into the bedroom. She didn't resist being tied to the bed by her legs and one hand, and she was surprised by the gentleness of man number two. In a strong Derry accent he assured her he would leave one hand free, "so you can drink the tea. It might be your last cup, eh?" So, things have taken a turn for the worse for Danny and Carole, captives, presumably of the IRA, on the Irish border. They don't even know what side of the border they're on. How are they going to explain their way out of this one? Will they be believed? You'll have to listen on to find out. I lived in that road, Tullymone Road, so I know the area that I'm talking about. Kate and I lived there for about a year before we moved into the town of Castledurg, and things were very tense in those days. It's nice that now things are so much more peaceful for all the people. But we know where the real peace is coming from, eh? Thanks for listening, friends. Talk to you again soon. Bye for now. Bye bye.